What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sports Reality. My name is Jeremy John, here to bring to you all things sports. Happy Memorial Day out there to everyone who has and is serving in our military right now. And those who let's remember those who did serve and are no longer here with us. I'm here with my man Jacob. How's everything with you?
Oh, it's good.
How was the weekend, man?
I was working this whole time.
Whole time.
Memorial Day weekend.
Hustling hard out here, man. Well, then I assume you didn't really get much. You didn't really watch much sports this weekend, I'm assuming.
No, not this weekend.
Well, see, that's why I'm here to update you on everything. Man, I'll be honest with you. There hasn't been much that's happened this weekend, and we will talk about why this weekend has been a real dud in the sports world. It primarily has to do with the NBA playoffs. We'll get into that. Stanley Cup Finals starts tonight in Pittsburgh. Some big news just broke about 30 minutes ago with Tiger Woods. We'll get into that and some other news. Let's start off with today in sports history. Today is May the 29th, 2017, and on May 29th, 1911, the first running of the Indianapolis 500 took place. Ray Horan won the race. Talking about the Indianapolis 500, that was yesterday, and I pretty much watched the entire race. It was on while I was we were just sitting in my house with my parents, and we're just sitting there talking, and the race was on, and we just had it on. I think I paid attention to the last maybe 25 laps where I actually watched it all the way through, but pretty much watched the entire race. It was actually pretty good. Now it is so terrible of me that I don't remember who actually won, so I'm going to go at that right now. I know it was a gentleman from one of the Honda teams, and he's actually Japanese. He's part of Michael Andretti's team. I'm looking at it right now. Oh, Takuma Sato. He won his first Indy 500 victory. Second place was Julio Castroneves, who was going for his, I think, fourth. And at one point, Julio Castroneves took the lead with about 4 laps to go, and then Sato reclaimed the lead and did not relinquish it. He won his first Indy 500. He was really close in 2012, and he had a bad accident near the end, and that was the closest he had been. So now from 2012 to 2017, think about that, all that on his mind, and he finally won. It was actually a pretty good race. Back to today in sports history. In 1926, the New York Giants won their 17th consecutive road game. 1962, Buck John O'Neill became the first black coach in Major League Baseball when he accepted the job with the Chicago Cubs. Interesting there. Did not know that. A.J. Foyt in 1977 won the Indianapolis 500 for the 4th time. 1984, the Boston Red Sox retired number 9 Ted Williams and number 4 Joe Cronin. 1990, you remember Ricky Henderson, Jacob? Yeah, really? the Steel King. Ricky Henderson stole his 893rd base. He broke Ty Cobb's record. And in 2001, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that disabled golfer Casey Martin could use a cart to ride in tournaments. Now, wow, I didn't. Okay, that's interesting. Casey Martin was a golfer, disabled, but still on the tour. And I guess the tour was not allowing him to use a golf cart. Like, when does common sense kick in?
Right. It had to be carried.
And so I guess they're under. From what I understand, with the rules with golf, yes, you do have to walk the golf course, and I guess they were saying it's a competitive advantage for him to take a golf cart. I mean, I think unfortunately he's at a disadvantage because he's disabled compared to the average golfer. So the Supreme Court had to step in. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is crazy.
Isn't that crazy, man?
Cool.
We'll talk about golf real quick. Tiger Woods, news broke about 35 minutes ago. Tiger Woods was arrested this morning for DUI. Just about a week ago, he was talking about recovering from surgery, his fourth back surgery. And, man, he's been going through a lot since about 2009, man. It's actually like a Shakespearean tragedy. You know, this guy, he was on top of the world, not just the golf world. I mean, people were saying he was probably one of the best athletes ever. Just how dominant he was on the golf course. He brought eyes to the golf course, not just the young audience, but definitely an audience that is not typical of golf. Golf is pretty much a white man sport, and he brought eyes to the game of golf that would have never thought it was cool or would have never thought they would have been accepted to partake in this. Like, I have a lot of friends now that go to the golf range, go to the golf courses because when they were younger, Tiger Woods was out there doing his thing. Tiger Woods had his great commercials. I don't know if you remember his Nike commercial where he's balancing the golf ball on the club, and he's just going back and forth, and then he hits it. I mean, we've seen so many videos of that right now, but who would have done that if it wasn't for Tiger? We of course know about his marriage and how that fell apart, and like we said, that fateful night, that Thanksgiving night in 2009 when he crashed the Escalade, and everything, hit the fan. Even after that, I was kind of like, he'll bounce back. I mean, he's Tiger Woods.
For a golfer, he's quite the rock star.
He is very much a rock star. A pop icon, pop culture icon also. I say he was going to bounce back. Like, I knew he'll be okay. Yeah, this might hurt his public image, and he lost some endorsements. I mean, with Buick, that's just one of them that I remembered, but he lost a lot of endorsements, and I said, he's gonna bounce back. He's gonna bounce back. Take a little break, and then come back, and now we're looking. It's 2017. It's 2017. From 2009 to 2017, I guess I've been saying he'll bounce back. I don't know, man. I think he's done right now. I think he is done. There'll be no majors victories. I don't think he'll win a tournament on the tour anymore. I think honestly, he might not even return.
Time to cash out.
He might not. It's terrible. And of course the what he's being charged with is serious. Driving under the influence. He could have harmed someone or even killed someone or people on the road. So it is serious. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not that big of a deal. I'm not going to say, oh, it was a bar fight, against another man. Okay. This is actually some serious charges here. Of course, I don't think there'll be a severe penalty for him when it comes to the legal system. However, there's going to be a severe penalty when it comes to his public image. So, I mean, Jacob, what do you think? I know you say you don't really watch too much sports, or you just kind of watch here and there. So I would categorize you as the casual fan. I guess I would say I'm in between like avid and like fanatic. I'm in between there.
You host a sports show.
I do, and it hosting a sports show would say that I'm probably a fanatic, but I'm in between. I'm in between. Sometimes I'm
Stay
not.
modest.
Yeah, exactly. Modesty is the key. Tiger Woods, man. What was he? I guess when you thought about Tiger Woods, we're about the same age. So when you were younger, when you thought about Tiger Woods, what did you think about him? What was your idea of Tiger Woods?
I mean, just goat and Wheaties. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I never really watched him very much. I saw commercials. I saw, publicity.
Uh-huh.
But he was always an icon. He was always in the public eye. And I don't know. It's gonna be sad to see him go.
Yeah, and you bring up an interesting point. I mentioned, of course, his play on the golf course and things like that. You brought up his off the course endeavors and how he was just noticeable, and that's how big Tiger Woods is. There's very few athletes when you think about it where you say, yeah, his endorsements is what I remember him about. Mm-hmm. We could say that about Michael Jordan, yep. LeBron James. I'm trying to think who else you could really say that. O.J. Simpson back in the day. Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Off the field endeavors.
You can say O.J. Simpson back in the day before he got caught up. There's very few athletes. You could now probably say Serena Williams, where people are not really watching her play, but they know about her life. People know she's pregnant right now. People know she just got married not too long ago. People care. And I think with Tiger Woods, he is, like you say, a rock star. He's a pop icon. He will be someone when you talk about 20th and 21st century history. He will be spoken about in history classes.
He's the reason I know anything about golf.
I'll be honest, he is also why I know about golf.
That and Happy Madison.
Happy Madison.
Or Happy Gilmore. Right?
Happy Gilmore. Yes.
Madison
one of them.
The production.
Yeah. One. Yeah. I knew what you're talking about. What's the actor's name? Can't remember the actor's name. With Adam Sandler, yes, that's what I was trying to remember. But yeah, you bring up Tiger Woods and why we know about him. I mean, Tiger Woods started golfing when he broke onto the tour. I was like 9 years old. So, I mean, that's right where I'm kind of like just starting to really pay attention to sports. So, and it's kind of it's a tragic story, man. I hope whatever comes out. With the, he needs to serve his punishment when it comes to the legal system. But I hope when it comes to the personal side of his life, he could get things in order. Who would have thought we would have spoke 15 minutes about Tiger Woods? Who would have thought that?
Well,
about an hour ago, who would have thought we'd have been talking about Tiger Woods? Man, oh man. Let's get to NBA playoffs. Talking about. It's not really much to talk about last week. Last week when we were on, it was just the day after Game 3 victory of the Boston Celtics, and people were asking questions like, can the Celtics actually make this a series against the Cavaliers? Are the Celtics better without Isaiah Thomas on the court? Should they not sign Isaiah Thomas, draft, the best player in the draft, and then get somebody else to come in and let Isaiah walk after his contract is up after next year? I guess after the next two games, we realized the Celtics need Isaiah Thomas. Like, I was not jumping on that bandwagon of the Celtics are better without Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas, I understand, because of his limitations of being 5'9" and about 170 pounds probably, I understand he's not going to play much defense against anyone in the NBA.
Ever.
Average height in the NBA is 6'5". It's the average height in the NBA. So I understand he's not going to be able to do much. But that team is so much better with him. And we saw it in Game 4 and in Game 5 when – at the end of the games, the Cavaliers pulled away and they handled business. Cavaliers ended up winning Game 5. LeBron James kind of bounced back a little Game 5, but Kyrie Irving, it was like 42 points. He also had 16 straight points in the third quarter to take the lead from the Boston Celtics, and they never let it go. And then they won in Game 5. In Game 5. I can't remember the score. At some point, I just stopped watching. It wasn't entertaining because the Cavaliers, they're that good. They're that good. It's not that the East is horrible. I mean, they're that good. Of course, as a Wizards fan and as a basketball fan who watched the season, I know for sure if the Wizards were there in the Eastern Conference Finals, it would have been a whole different situation. I think it could have gone 6 games. However, it's a lot of shoulda, coulda, woulda. Wizards didn't handle their business Game 7 in the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Cavaliers. So now we got to deal with this. Celtics lost in 5 games. Warriors, I mean, they won in 4 games against the Spurs. Kawhi Leonard got injured in the third quarter of the first game of the series, and it was not even close the rest of the way. The Golden State Warriors are now the first team since the 2001 Los Angeles Lakers to win every game leading up to the NBA Finals. So now we have the Golden State Warriors undefeated in the playoffs going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, which lost 1 game throughout the playoffs, for now round 3, or what they call the rubber match of the series. And before we talk about the upcoming series, which will start on Thursday, let's take a look at the top 10 plays of the last 2 NBA Finals between the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's take a look at this, courtesy of the NBA channel on YouTube.
Curry gets away from Irving. Pass inside, stolen by Irving. Throws it ahead to Smith. Smith, alley-oop to James. Wow!
Crowd going crazy. J.R. Smith in transition, recognizing the locomotive running down the middle of the floor.
Love bumps Curry. Curry, pass deflected and stolen. Here comes Irving. Irving drives past Green. The foul. Shot's good and one. Oh, what a sweet move from Kyrie Irving.
Uncle Drew putting on a clinic in this third quarter. Takes the contact. How about the beautiful finish with the left hand? My goodness.
Curry steps back. Oh, Stephen Curry with some magic. As Mozgov throws it down. Nola pass from LeBron James.
How about the vision?
Barnes throws it down. And the foul. Harrison Barnes with authority and a chance for a three-point play. Livingston sees an opening and throws it down. Wow.
A right-hand slam for Sean Livingston.
Curry looking for that opening. Steps back. Crossover. Fires away. Wow. Another 3 from Curry.
Steph Curry, extreme confidence. Here's the chatter. Delly's the Curry stopper. Not on my watch.
Turns it over. James keeps his dribble somehow. Irving back to James. Oh, he throws it down.
Passes over to Irving, lob back to James. Look out, right-hand slam. Woo! My goodness.
Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. And the Cavaliers by 3. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
Oh, LeBron tracked him down and made the rejection. Huge, huge defensive play by the 4-time MVP.
those are the top 10 plays of the last two NBA Finals right there. I want to go through some interesting storylines that we see so far with the NBA Finals. Of course, the obvious one. This is the third time in a row, first time in NBA history that two teams have met 3 consecutive seasons in the NBA Finals. So that is one major storyline, but the obvious one. But there are going to be some interesting ones right now. Kevin Durant, of course, left the Oklahoma City Thunder, first season with the Golden State Warriors. They have another great season. He is the one star on the team that does not have a NBA championship under his accomplishments. Is he going to play well? That's one storyline. Of course, you're going to probably say, what's wrong with you, Jeremy? Of course he's going to play well. He's Kevin Durant. In my opinion, he's the second best player in the NBA. But it's going to be interesting to see how he handles it. You know, we've seen other players in a similar situation like LeBron James, who did not handle the first NBA Finals appearance with a new team. And a team that was actually depending on that player to do well. They didn't handle it. Kevin Durant did not necessarily play well in his first NBA Finals appearance in 2012 against the Miami Heat. Of course, a younger team, a little more inexperienced at that time. You had James Harden and Russell Westbrook, but not really much after that, going up against a team that had LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and other role players like Shane Battier, Mike Miller, Udonis Haslem. So it's understandable that you might have lost against a team like the Miami Heat, but now you're with the Golden State Warriors, and right now everyone's saying you're going to win. That sometimes is the hardest time to play your best, when everyone is already expecting you to win. Another storyline from the Golden State Warriors, Steve Kerr. Will he be able to coach the team? He's been out since, I guess, round 1 of the playoffs with complications stemming from back surgery. And he hasn't been on the sideline, so this interim head coach, Mike Brown, has stepped in and hasn't really skipped a beat when it comes to the record. And when it comes to the obvious things, seems like Mike Brown is doing pretty well. But without Steve Kerr being there during pressure moments, how would the team play? How will they be directed by their coach? That segues to Mike Brown. Mike Brown coached LeBron James in LeBron James' first appearance in the NBA Finals with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They got swept by the Spurs. Of course, the Cavaliers, in my opinion, they were horrible. Outside of LeBron James, who on that team was good? And I'm going to ask you, Jacob, can you name anyone on that Cleveland team that went to the finals the first time with LeBron James, outside of LeBron James?
No.
Okay, that's the point I'm trying to make here. That, let's be real. Who do we remember on that team? If you're going to tell me that Zydrunas Ilgauskas was pretty good and he could have helped LeBron James against the Spurs, you're just really reaching. You're reaching, or you're a LeBron hater, so you're trying to justify that. You're trying to justify something that maybe LeBron is not that good. His best teammate on that team probably was Larry Hughes. Larry Hughes at the end of his career, not Larry Hughes when he was with the Wizards, or Larry Hughes when he was with the 76ers with Allen Iverson when he was like in his prime. We're not talking about that Larry Hughes. We're talking about a Larry Hughes at the very end of his career. We're talking about a Sasha Pavlovich. Do you even know who that is? No.
Nope.
No. But we're talking about players like that. So, of course, Cleveland, and I went on a little rant there. Of course, Cleveland wasn't that good. But Mike Brown, since then, has been looked at negatively when it comes to his coaching ability. And I feel like it's just the cool thing right now in this social media age to just hate on a coach and just say, oh, what kind of decisions are they making? Oh, the sets that they're running and all of that. I'm sitting there like, you know, at some point players got to play. And he was dealt with some cards of some players that just weren't that good. And it's real easy to say, well, Steve Kerr came in there and did things well right away. Yeah, if Steve Kerr ended up signing with the New York Knicks instead of the Warriors, would we be saying Steve Kerr is such a great coach? I don't think so, because the Knicks are pretty bad. And I think sometimes that's happened to Mike Brown. Went to the Lakers that were just a bad team. Yeah, Kobe Bryant, but nothing else to go with Kobe Bryant. But it is going to be interesting to see how fans and so quote unquote NBA experts view Mike Brown in this situation with him being the coach right now, the interim head coach with the Golden State Warriors. How well will they play? Now I want to go back to let's stay with the Warriors. Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson hasn't really played like Klay Thompson during the playoffs, so it's going to be interesting to see. Will he be able to have a game where he just goes off for like 30? Or he's capable of going for 40 in a game. The way he shoots in spurts. I mean, we had a game last season where he scored 36 points in a quarter. So it's quite possible that he could do some damage. So it's going to be interesting to see that. Let's move on to the Cavaliers. Of course, the obvious player, LeBron James, 3-time champion. This is his 7th consecutive finals appearance. 7th from 2011 to 2017. Pretty much this decade, he has been in the finals. And I don't care if you're not a LeBron James fan, you have to give it to the guy that on 2 different teams, he has led them. And when I say he has led them, he was the best player on all of those teams. You can't tell me he wasn't the best player on any of those teams. He has led them to the NBA Finals 7 consecutive years. Quite impressive. Of course, his record is 3 and... what's his record? 3 and 4 in the playoff in the finals. Yep, lost against the Spurs, lost against the Mavericks, lost against the Spurs, lost against the Warriors. Yep, 3 and 4 in the finals. But
that's okay.
It's okay. Like, everyone can't be Jordan. Everyone can't be Bill Russell. You know, people talk about Magic Johnson, who has I think 4 or 5 rings, and he lost quite a bit too. Lost to the Celtics, I think twice. Lost to got swept by the 76ers. Like, people don't talk about that. Like, when they talk about Magic Johnson, Larry Bird has lost some finals appearance. I mean, really, it's only been Michael Jordan that's gone undefeated in the finals, and Bill Russell, who won 11 out of 13 championships. Bill Russell, I do put a slight asterisk because, you know, he played in a league that only had 8 teams, and also a league that literally had black players on like 3. So I put a little asterisk. But LeBron James, 7 consecutive NBA Finals appearances. The confidence from last season, you know, going up against them, winning in Game 7 in Oracle in Oakland. And it's going to be interesting to see how he plays. I think he's going to play well. And I think some of his role players are going to play well because I think they're confident that, hey, we did this last year. Yeah, they might have added LeBron James, but I mean, Kevin Durant. They added Kevin Durant, but we did this last year. So I don't think the Cavaliers are nervous. I think it's going to be quite interesting. Jacob, I'm going to ask you, what is it that you want to see or that you're looking forward to when it comes to the NBA Finals?
Definitely more explosions.
More explosions?
Oh, yeah.
Explain that.
Well, I don't watch sports, and that would definitely make me watch sports if there were, like, special effects and, you know, like some acting and, you know, that's what I wanted.
Okay. So you're going to be looking forward to, like, the halftime shows and
Yeah, for
and whoever sings the national
Super
anthem.
Bowl is my favorite, sporting event because I can watch it without watching the sports.
That's what's up.
Sorry.
You should. This is what is actually going to be entertaining, and you should probably do this. Just go on Twitter during the games and just look at the back and forth between people. That would be interesting.
Okay.
Like that is something.
I'll do that.
At some point, like Twitter should be like, you got to pay for this premium service because it is entertaining to see people talk about specifically LeBron James. LeBron James is pretty divisive. Like he's you're either going to love him or you're going to hate him. So it's going to be quite interesting.
And if you hate him, you're wrong.
Look, there's things to not like about LeBron James, but when you are sitting there saying he's trash, that you're a hater. Come on, man.
I can beat him.
Or things like that. Yeah, you're not really that good. I mean, he can't shoot, can't dribble. I mean, all he could do is drive to the hole and dunk and all of that. I'm just like, yeah, that makes you a basketball player. It does. It definitely makes you a basketball player. I'm going to give you my prediction right before the end of the show. Game 1 is Thursday. We've had a long drought because, of course, the finals was already predetermined to be on June 1st because of television and also because usually these NBA playoffs series go kind of long. Like usually they go about 6 or 7 games in the conference championship round. However, one series went 4 games, one series went 5. So you had this long break now. There hasn't been an NBA game since last Thursday. So a week with no basketball, and I was in slight depression, sports depression mode because I had to settle for regular season May, not just regular season, May regular season baseball. And I like baseball, but I was stuck with that. And also college baseball and college softball and lacrosse. That's what I was dealing with. And it's a segue to our next topic. Kevin Durant spoke about the NBA playoffs and how many fans are blaming Kevin Durant for making the playoffs not that interesting by signing with the Golden State Warriors. Let me say this. I will not blame Kevin Durant. Of course, I didn't want Kevin Durant to go to the Warriors because it kind of changed the competitive balance in the West. However, at some point, you got to put some accountability on some of the other teams, like the Thunder and the Rockets and the Clippers, who were top-notch teams in the West and pretty much did nothing in the finals. I mean, in the playoffs. So you can't blame Kevin Durant for how they played. You also can't really blame Kawhi Leonard for getting injured because I honestly think if Kawhi Leonard played, I think it would have went 6 or 7 games. Like Kawhi Leonard is that good that he could have won the Spurs some games during the series. So you can't blame Kevin Durant for that. But Kevin Durant said in an interview, if you don't like the product, don't watch. If it's boring, don't watch. And I was following his directions before the conference finals game. Outside of the Washington Wizards, I probably watched like 3 playoff games this entire playoff postseason. Like I probably watched like 3 outside of the Wizards because it has been pretty boring. It's been the haves and have-nots. Pretty much Cleveland's running through the East. Golden State Warriors running through the West. And it hasn't been really interesting, to be honest. Now, Kevin Durant, of course, being, in my opinion, the second best player in the NBA, saying that rubbed some fans the wrong way. I could kind of understand it because let's be real. We as consumers are paying these players with our cable subscriptions, with our buying tickets, buying merchandise, concession, all sorts of things. And then when you say, hey, don't watch. I mean, yeah, it is going to rub some fans the wrong way. They're just going to be like, yeah, I won't watch. Or when I do
Maybe
watch,
less the fans than like the networks.
yeah. And then you have the networks who are going to come out and say, look, man, one of your players can't be saying don't watch. They're going to come out. They already came out earlier this year and say, look, y'all just can't be resting players just to be resting them on primetime games. Like, you just can't be doing that. So, I mean, I won't be surprised if networks came out and say, look, can you try and get players to not say things like don't watch our product?
It's such a real thing to say, too. Like, it's totally fair for someone.
It's totally fair for, like, not an NBA player to say.
Right.
Yeah, like I can't go to my job and say, yo, man, don't buy from my job. Like, it's not that good. Don't do that. Like, that's grounds for termination right there. But you're going to have it's quite interesting. Like, ever since Kevin Durant, like the last year and a half, Kevin Durant has kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm just kind of like, you're acting more and more like a little spoiled little brat. When people criticize you, you get in your feelings, you get defensive and things like that. And I'm not talking about criticism that's like disrespectful. I'm talking about just constructive criticism. And he has just gotten his feelings about things and talked about it's not my fault that the Brooklyn Nets were that bad. Like, what did I have to do with the Brooklyn Nets being that bad or other teams and things like that? And it was just like, KD, just chill, man. Just chill. Just play ball. When it comes to situations like this, man, just play ball. It's gonna be interesting, like I said, to see how he plays. In my opinion, of course, winning a championship for the Warriors and Kevin Durant being on the team, of course, for him, he's gonna be ecstatic. Of course, years from now, we're probably going to be like, well, yeah, he was part of the team and got his first ring. But in my opinion, I mean, if he doesn't drop 30 points a game in a series, I think he's a sidekick on that team. It's not because of him they won. Like, and I think with you leaving the Oklahoma City Thunder with the 3-1 lead, and then you squandered it against the Warriors. They go to the finals, and then the very next season you're playing with them. It was very weak, and I've been saying it for a lot, but it was very weak of him, especially coming from a player who criticized LeBron James for leaving the Cavaliers and going to the Heat. It's very weak of him to do that. So why am I talking about Kevin Durant again? I can't remember.
He's a basketball player.
Yeah, I understand. I went on a slight tangent. Can't even remember. But yeah, it's just he spoke about don't watch the product. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, come on, man. Just I don't know, man. We'll give our predictions for the finals coming up soon. I do want to talk real quick about LeVar Ball. I vowed about a month and a half ago, actually. Actually, now I'm looking at the count. Yeah, about a month and a half ago, that I was not going to talk about LeVar Ball because he does nothing meaningful. But lately, I mean, he's been doing some things, and I'm just like, yo, I guess I still got to talk about him. He's been in the news. Last week, we spoke about his interaction with Christine Leahy from Fox Sports. This week, we are going to talk about his interaction with his AAU coach. Let's take a look at this video that happened this weekend at a tournament in, I think, L.A. or Compton out there. Let's take a look at this video.
When y'all get in the hole, you start throwing the ball to so you get more shots. Leak out so you get some quickness down. You're going to take the ball out down here every single time. Throw the ball low. Quit throwing it away. Play some defense. Quit worrying about getting dumped on. Guys do this shit every time. I don't know why. You ain't getting no layups and dunks on me. So you're trying to start playing. You know how to play for real. That's why I hate when you get all this press. I know you're going to get your ass cut when you enjoy it. Come in. You're not hungry. When you play basketball, you play for entertainment. 25 points is not entertainment. Everybody nodding their head unless you play defense and pop the ball out and make them hungry. All you do is second guessing in the back.
So that's LeVar Ball talking to his AAU team by the team name is Big Baller. a lot of people are in an uproar about him talking to his players that way and things like that. I saw nothing wrong with that video. I saw nothing wrong with that. And I know there's another clip. I forgot to get it. It's about another 45 seconds, which is pretty much the same thing that he's saying, pretty much just reiterating it. The fact that people are in an uproar about him talking to his team like that, they either, in my opinion, do not like LeVar Ball, or they have never dealt with criticism well. Like, that's just what it comes down to. And it's kind of sad because I'm going to say a lot of those people, and I'm going to go on some of my Facebook friends who chimed in on that video. They were talking about how he was disrespectful and out of line and blah, blah, blah. Yet, if I go back in their history on Facebook timelines, I can see them talking about how great Coach K is and how great Greg Popovich is and how great Bobby Knight was as a coach. And specifically Bobby Knight and Coach K, they've done a lot worse than LeVar Ball. Specifically Bobby Knight. Bobby Knight literally got fired from his job because he assaulted players on numerous times. Physically assaulted players. And some people still see him as a great coach. Some people still see him as, well, I mean, it was back in that time, and nowadays these players are just soft right now. No, like, Bobby Knight assaulted players. Physically assaulted players. What we just saw from LeVar Ball, he's just trying to amp his team up, get them motivated, get them on the right path. He didn't use any profanity. He didn't use any personal shots. I guess the most personal shot that he could have said was stop worrying about getting dunked on. And nothing was wrong with me. Nothing was wrong with him doing that to me. I've been in locker rooms where coaches have said a lot worse. And you just was like, all right. Like, yeah, maybe I do need to follow what he's saying. Maybe that's what I needed. Maybe as a player, I couldn't deal with, hey, well, you got to get back on defense, man. Or you got to pass the ball, man. No, sometimes you need that light, that fire to just get you to finally get on the right track. That urgency. And I saw nothing wrong with that. You know what in that video I did see that was more appalling than LeVar Ball talking to his team that way? The fact that he had that T-shirt on, that Big Baller Brand T-shirt. The fact that the name of the team is called Big Baller. What was more appalling was LaMelo Ball performance, because there's a 17-minute highlight clip of that video. Of that game where they lost by 52 points to another team. Like, that was more appalling. LaMelo Ball looked like trash. And I'm sorry. I know he's a 16-year-old, but when you are already on television almost on a weekly basis because of Big Baller Brand and your high school games and stuff like that, I am going to criticize your game. I'm not going to criticize your character, but I'm going to criticize your game. He was horrible. He was airballing it, hitting the backboard only. The ball got stuck in between the backboard and the rim one time. He was getting the shots blocked, getting stripped. And they lost by 52 points. I understand the team they played had D1 talent, and he was probably the only D1 talent on his team. But, they still lost by 52 points. That was horrible. Well, you know what was even more appalling than LeVar Ball yelling at his team? The fact that person recorded that video vertically and not horizontally. Like, he did it portrait instead of landscape. Like, that was more appalling to me, that the video quality was worse than what he was saying. Those Big Baller Brand slides he had on were worse than what he was saying. If we had to rank what was terrible in the video, I would rank all of those things. Like his style, the videographer, just all of that was worse than actually the content of his conversation, man. People look.
Like a coach talking to his team. He was heated.
They were down by 25 at that point. Yeah. They were playing very selfish. I do want to segue real quick. AAU basketball is probably the worst set of basketball I've ever seen in my life. The worst type of basketball I've ever seen. And I understand now, if you're in middle school and high school, AAU is kind of the way that you showcase yourself, because when you're at a school with literally hundreds of thousands of high schools across the nation, it might be hard to be seen. AAU, it allows college scouts, not just on the D1 level, but also the lower levels, to go to one tournament and be able to see over 100 kids play at one time, instead of a coach having to go from one school one night and the next night at another school and keep on traveling. So I understand the concept, but the culture of AAU is all about making money for the coaches, making money for the team. When I say the team, the workers of the team, not the players, and just showcasing your talent in like a not so good way. When I watched that game, it was a 17-minute clip of the game. I watched every minute of it. I did not see one offensive set called. It was literally someone came down with the ball, went one-on-one. If he got in trouble, he passed it. Or he went a one-on-one and someone cut and then he passed it. There was no like, hey, let me get a backdoor screen, or let me get a pick and roll, or, I will practice the isolation on this move on this time. It was 100% isolation. And it was 100% I'm trying to showboat, because they had guys trying to dunk who couldn't really dunk consistently. Guys who were trash talking for like the most least thing. Like they had a guy who laid it up, picked up the ball, and shoved it into the other player's chest. Like, oh, you can't stop me. And I'm like, you did nothing. Like, come on. AAU is horrible. AAU is horrible. The culture is horrible. I don't have any children, and I don't know if my child will be a great basketball player, but I don't think I'm putting them in AAU. I mean, if they're that good to go to college, they'll be noticed at high school. I don't need the AAU route to showcase the talent of my child. But yeah, it's just horrible. So we'll give our prediction for the NBA Finals coming up soon. What we got, like 5 minutes left in the show? 5 minutes left. Let's talk about the NFL real quick. Colin Kaepernick had a workout with the Seattle Seahawks, and in my opinion, it's quite disrespectful that you're working out Colin Kaepernick. It's not like he hasn't played football in a while. He played last year. Statistically, had a good year. His team didn't play well, but he had a good year. Not going to say great. He had a good year. 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And didn't start all 16 games. Good year right there. We saw the quarterback that he replaced. We saw that he was signed with a team without getting a workout. Players like EJ Manuel didn't get a workout. Ryan Fitzpatrick didn't have to work out. I could go down the list. Geno Smith didn't have to work out. I could go down the list of terrible quarterbacks. And last week we spoke about it. Last week we said there's probably like 4 or 5 teams he could definitely have a great shot at starting, and about probably 10 teams that he could probably just be the backup on right now. The Seattle Seahawks, they gave him a workout. I guess it's the first step. Still think it's disrespectful that he needs to work out. You've seen how he played. It's either you want to sign him or not, in my opinion. But Colin Kaepernick worked out with the Seahawks. Spike Lee tweeted on Saturday that Colin Kaepernick has been signed by the Seattle Seahawks. He tweeted that and a picture of him and Colin Kaepernick, then later deleted the tweet. The Seahawks came out and said, no, we have not signed him. We are still in talks with him and deliberation on whether we will or won't. And in my opinion, I think Spike Lee really hurt Colin Kaepernick. I really do think Colin Kaepernick, I really do think he hurt him. You can't come out and say, oh, yeah, we signed him. or that he got signed before the team comes out. Like try to be the first. Like I think it's pretty bad that happened. But I think Colin Kaepernick is dealing with an issue right now, where his political stance is what is keeping him off the field right now. Let's welcome my man Yannick in the building. Let's welcome my man Yannick in the building. Yannick, how's everything with you?
Doing well, my man. Happy Memorial Day to you and everybody listening.
That's what's up, and you actually called at a great time. I do want to talk about this one specific player in the NFL, Josh Norman. Josh Norman had some things to talk about in the NFC East. He pretty much said there's going to be some fines and possible suspensions because of how he's going to play and how the two safeties that the Redskins have right now, Sue Cravens and DJ Swearinger, he pretty much called them killers out there. He said, we coming for Dez Bryant and we coming for Odell Beckham. Are you cool with Josh Norman going off like that?
I'm going to have to steal a line from a local radio station host. The Redskins, for their last 20 years of being awful, they have excelled at one thing, and that's trash talking in the offseason and inflating themselves to be like some doomsday defense, and they're going to be the team to beat and all this stuff, and then they go out and lay eggs. That's what they have excelled at for the last 20 years. No, I'm not cool with it. Just go out there and play, man. Let your play speak for itself. I mean, maybe I'm talking like an old school guy and I'll get off my long time guy, but I'm like, yo, you going up against killers, man. Dez Bryant ain't no slouch, ain't no third string slot receiver. Dez Bryant's the truth. You got Odell and those weapons, and they're bringing in Brandon Marshall, and we didn't look too good against them last season, so I would like to see us actually, since our defense was one of the worst in the league, especially on third down, let's actually have some results on the field before we go spin off at the mouth.
All right, quickly, we only have probably about like 2 more minutes. I did not have an issue with Josh Norman coming out and saying what he said. Of course, he's not a player on my favorite team, so that's easy for me to say that I didn't have an issue. One thing about Josh Norman, he's a very good corner. He's a very good corner. He's one of the best in the league. He's been torched by Odell Beckham numerous times. He's been torched by Dez Bryant. Alshon Jeffrey now plays for the Eagles. Brandon Marshall's with the Giants now. It's going to be quite interesting. I just wish he didn't say it so early in the offseason, because now the referees are going to be looking for it and they're going to be policing it like so tight. I really like the old NFC East banter and trash talk and the fierce competition. I just wish there was something that he didn't say so early, because I would have loved to see this physical nature between Josh Norman and any wide receiver in the NFC East, in my opinion. I think it's going to be an exciting year, especially in the NFC East. And I honestly can't wait until September to see meaningful football.
Yeah, it's going to be a long summer, man, especially with, the NBA. The series have been short, so it seems like summer's kind of crawling along. But, yeah, definitely can't wait to see some football action.
All right, before we wrap up the show, I didn't give my prediction yet for the NBA Finals, but I'm going to ask you first your prediction. Who's winning the NBA Finals between the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Man, I guess I got to go with the Warriors, but I don't really feel too good about it, because how can you go up against LeBron? But I'm going to say Warriors in 6, just like 2 years ago.
All right, logically, I would tell you the way things look, it would be Warriors in probably like 6. But I said it since July 4th when we found out Kevin Durant was signing with the Golden State Warriors. I said it on that day, on this very show. There will be no logic to this. I just have a feeling the Warriors will not win the first year that Kevin Durant's on that team. And I said something will happen during the finals where the team will get tight and they will lose, similarly to how the Heat lost in 2011 to the Dallas Mavericks. They had no business losing to the Mavericks. And I just think something is going to happen during this NBA Finals where the Warriors are going to probably play tight and they will end up losing the NBA Finals. But logically, I would say Warriors in 5, honestly. But I think it would be Cavaliers in 7, in my opinion. So I just think that's what's going to happen.
Both sides of the fence, my man.
and see, no, that's why I said it. I said logically, I'm going with Warriors in 5, but a gut feeling just tells me it's going to be Cavaliers in 7. So yeah, I'm not trying to say that, so I'm correct both ways. And I said it from the beginning. I have no logic as to why the Cavaliers are going to win. I just think they're going to win.
Yeah, I don't feel good about my prediction either, but I'm going to stick with Warriors in 6.
All right, hey Yannick, I know it was real quick, but it was quite fun that you came on and we spoke about Josh Norman, man. Hey man, so I want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank you, Jacob, for all that you do. I want to thank all the viewers and listeners out there. We have a lot planned for this summer. It's going to be quite interesting. Just because the NBA and the NFL is not going on, we got a lot to talk about. So we'll get into that during the summer and some big news coming up about the show. Keep you posted about that. Until next time, everyone, Sports Reality. Peace.
High fly ball, right field deep. Canseco back to the track. Look it out. It is off his head, it looked like. And over the top. A home run. It's him right there. He goes over the top. Jose, you've hit a lot of home runs. You've done a lot of great things, but that shot will live forever.
24 years ago today, we all discovered what a brilliant outfielder Jose Canseco was. Having said that, let's do the not top 10, shall we? Keon Broxton under it.
Oh, no.
Oh. That's why you use 2 hands.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Caught it right there in the palm of him.
Number 9, Marlins Dodgers. Jock Peterson going to hit one deep to right. Giancarlo Stanton's going back, jumping on the fence, and it's somebody forgot to lock it. You need a go-go gadget arm to get that. Yeah, need some help getting down.
Angels raise Evan Longoria the grounder. All right. Cliff Pennington can't make the play. Here's the not top play. Longoria's tagged out at first because what happened? Barely rounds first base, accidentally thinks he's got to make the turn. Oh, no. Some Little League action we've seen the last couple months, huh?
You learned that, I think, in T-ball. Number 7, Auburn, Florida baseball. I mean, to be fair, it's a quagmire out there, but Dylan Ingram trying to round third. I don't blame him. In the dugout, as you would imagine, has a come on, hey!
He eventually scored, but that was bad. Rome Masters doubles tennis number 6. Lucas Kubat serves it right off his partner, Marcelo Melo's melon.
That would happen if we tried to play double.
Yeah.